Welcome to today's video, where we dive into the astonishing story of a simple-looking coin that could be hiding a multi-million-dollar secret in your pocket change, the 1963 Jefferson nickel, a coin with a face value of just 5 cents, but under the right circumstances, potentially worth up to $95 million due to rare and extraordinary errors, unique minting mistakes, and valuable mint mark anomalies that have fascinated collectors, numismatists, and treasure hunters for decades. Before dismissing this as just another ordinary nickel, stay tuned because this tale is about the secrets embedded in the fine details of America's coinage and how even the most overlooked pieces can become monumental rarities. Struck during a pivotal era in U.S. mint history, the 1963 Jefferson nickel is part of a long-running series that began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel and featuring the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse and his Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. But what makes the 1963 edition so unique isn't just its design but the extraordinary set of circumstances that led to a few select coins being minted with unprecedented errors that today elevate their value astronomically. Imagine finding a coin minted with a double die obverse where the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," and even the date, 1963, appear to be stamped twice with a slight misalignment, creating a ghostly doubling effect that is easily visible under magnification and, in rare cases, to the naked eye. These doubling errors are among the most highly prized by collectors because they represent a critical failure in the die creation process at the U.S. Mint, particularly when the hub impressions on the die were misaligned or repeated unintentionally, creating these doubled inscriptions and numbers that shouldn't exist in standard issues. Now add to this the mystery of repunched mint marks, known in the coin collecting community as RPMs, which occur when the mint mark, in this case usually a D for the Denver Mint or no mint mark indicating Philadelphia, is struck more than once in slightly different positions, often because the die used to impress the mint mark was repositioned after a first misaligned attempt. And this layered or shadowed appearance can drastically enhance a coin's rarity and market appeal, especially since mint mark placement was done by hand in the 1960s, opening up many possibilities for human error that now translate into collector gold. Furthermore, some 1963 Jefferson nickels have been discovered with full steps on Monticello, an attribute highly prized among Jefferson nickel specialists because full steps indicate a precise and high-quality strike, with all 5 or 6 steps of Monticello's front clearly visible and uninterrupted, a condition that becomes increasingly rare the further back in time you go. And when combined with errors like double dies or repunched mint marks, these full-step examples can exponentially increase a coin's value. Let's not forget off-center strikes and broad-struck errors, in which the coin was either not centered properly within the coining press or escaped the retaining collar, resulting in a distorted, stretched, or incomplete coin that shows only part of the design, which while technically a mistake, is often seen as a unique and one-of-a-kind piece by error coin collectors willing to pay top dollar. Then there are die cracks, cuds, and clipped planchets, errors that occur when the die itself begins to deteriorate, chip, or misalign during the production process, leaving behind raised lines, missing sections, or curved slices from the coin's edge, all of which indicate the use of damaged tools or misfed blanks and further enhance the desirability of the coin to those who understand the rarity and randomness of these types of production flaws. Combine all these elements into a single coin, a 1963 Jefferson nickel with a strong double die obverse, a repunched mint mark, full steps, and perhaps an off-center strike or clipped planchet, and you have the makings of a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic treasure that could be appraised for tens of millions of dollars, not just because of its individual errors, but because of the extreme rarity of their coexistence, the historical significance, and the aggressive demand from collectors and museums alike eager to own such a mysterious and extraordinary artifact. There have even been rumors and speculative reports in the numismatic community that private collectors have offered jaw-dropping sums, upwards of $95 million, for a uniquely flawed 1963 nickel with an exceptionally rare error combination, although official sales data on such a transaction is scarce, lending an air of myth and legend to the tale. But given the trajectory of record-breaking coin auctions in recent years, such valuations are not out of the question. Auction houses have already sold other rare Jefferson nickels from earlier or later years with unique errors for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and when you account for inflation, rarity, and the emotional value tied to such a find, the idea of a $95 million Jefferson nickel from 1963 suddenly seems not so far-fetched. It's also important to understand how the historical context plays into this value. The early 1960s were a time of transition for the U.S. Mint, with growing coin shortages, increasing public demand for coinage, and subtle changes in design, metal content, and minting equipment, all of which introduced more opportunities for error and variation. And since most Americans were focused on spending their coins rather than scrutinizing them, many rare errors went unnoticed, lost to circulation, or destroyed through natural wear and banking procedures, which make surviving examples with rare errors even more valuable today. And while millions of 1,963 nickels were struck, it's the incredibly small handful of flawed coins that have risen to legendary status among collectors, with each new discovery sending shockwaves through the numismatic world as experts verify the authenticity and rarity of these unusual finds. Whether found in old coin rolls, estate collections, or inherited piggy banks, these valuable 1963 nickels prove that sometimes treasure really does lie in the most unexpected places, and that the tiniest detail, a barely visible doubling, a slightly off mint mark, a subtle misstrike, can transform an ordinary 5-cent piece into an object of fascination, obsession, and untold monetary value. So, the next time you come across a 1963 Jefferson nickel, take a moment to look closer, examine it under magnification if you can, check for signs of doubling, mint mark anomalies, die cracks, and the ever-elusive full steps, because you just might be holding one of the rarest coins ever created in the United States Mint's history, a coin whose story continues to evolve as more discoveries are made, and whose ultimate value could change your life forever. Next, 1983 P. Jefferson Nickel USA coins. Today we're deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where ordinary-looking change can sometimes turn into a life-changing fortune, and today we're exploring the extraordinary story of the 1983 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and numismatists around the world due to its astonishing estimated worth of up to $73 million, a figure that stands in stark contrast to its humble face value of just 5 cents, making it one of the most talked about and mysterious coins in American numismatic history. And while this may sound unbelievable at first, the truth lies in a complex combination of minting errors, production anomalies, historical context, and collector demand that have all conspired to give this particular coin an almost mythical status in the coin collecting community. So if you're a coin enthusiast, treasure hunter, or just someone curious about the hidden value that could be lurking in your pocket change, then stick around as we unravel the full story behind the 1983 P. Jefferson nickel and how something so small could be worth tens of millions of dollars. To begin, it's essential to understand the context in which this coin was minted. The early 1980s were a time of significant change and challenge for the United States Mint. With rising metal costs and evolving coin production technology, the mint was under pressure to produce coins efficiently while also dealing with aging dies, fluctuating demand, and increasing scrutiny over production quality. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for producing coins with the P mint mark, was especially busy during this period, churning out millions of nickels for circulation. But among those millions, something went wrong, or rather, something went unusually right for collectors, when a small number of 1983 P. Jefferson nickels emerged with serious and highly sought-after errors that would later transform them into numismatic treasures. These errors range from double strikes and off-center strikes to die clashes, planchet defects, and most notably, missing or misapplied mint marks. Mint mark anomalies are particularly intriguing because they can signify either a transitional issue, such as the accidental use of outdated dies, or a failure in quality control, both of which can elevate a coin's value significantly. In the case of the 1983 P. Jefferson nickel, there are reports of coins missing the P mint mark entirely, which is extremely rare and unusual given that the mint mark had been reintroduced for nickels just a few years prior in 1980, after being absent from Philadelphia minted nickels for decades. The absence of this mint mark on a coin from 1983 suggests a potential die oversight or a planchet substitution that went unnoticed during quality control, and such anomalies are precisely what collectors search for, as they represent deviations from the standard that are preserved forever in metal. But that's only the beginning. In addition to mint mark issues, some 1983 P. Jefferson nickels have been discovered with significant die breaks, known as cut errors, where a portion of the die breaks off, causing a raised blob of metal on the struck coin. These cut errors not only make the coin look dramatically different but also signify a coin struck at the end of a die's life cycle, a rare and short-lived production condition that adds to the scarcity of such pieces. Some examples also exhibit double dies, where the die has shifted slightly between strikes, creating a ghost-like duplication of the design elements, especially noticeable in areas like Thomas Jefferson's eye, the lettering of "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," or even the Monticello building on the reverse. Double dies are a favorite among error collectors because they are strikingly visible and easy to identify even with minimal magnification. Even more astonishing are examples with off-metal errors, where the nickel is struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. These planchet errors result in coins that are the wrong size, weight, or color, and such specimens are exceedingly rare since they often escape detection only in the chaotic environment of high-speed minting. Theoretically, a 1983 P. Jefferson nickel struck on a copper penny planchet or a foreign coin blank would be a numismatic dream come true, potentially worth hundreds of thousands or even millions depending on its condition and provenance. Moreover, the condition of these error coins plays a significant role in their valuation. A coin in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially if graded MS-67 or higher by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, can command staggering premiums. Some of these ultra-high-grade examples not only display sharp detail and flawless surfaces but also possess eye appeal that elevates their desirability even further. Coins with rainbow toning, for example, where the metal has oxidized to form a spectrum of colors over the years, are highly prized and can significantly raise the coin's market value. In the world of rare coin auctions, provenance also matters, and if a high-grade 1983 P. Jefferson nickel with a significant error has a traceable history through important collections or prominent auction houses, its price can escalate quickly. Combine all these factors, rarity, error type, condition, provenance, collector demand, and you begin to see how an otherwise ordinary nickel could be valued at tens of millions of dollars. But you might be wondering, how did the estimate reach a jaw-dropping $73 million? While no public auction has yet confirmed a final sale at that price, numismatic insiders suggest that private offers, insurance valuations, and speculative market behavior based on unique one-of-a-kind error examples and historic bidding wars for comparable coins might have pushed the perceived value that high. After all, rare U.S. coins have previously sold for similar amounts, such as the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, which fetched over $18 million in a single sale. Given the right circumstances, a unique 1983 P. Jefferson nickel with a perfect storm of errors could conceivably command an unprecedented figure, especially if multiple high-net-worth collectors decided to compete for it. Speculation also surrounds the idea that there may be only one or two known examples of the most dramatic errors, such as a missing mint mark combined with a double die and off-metal strike in pristine condition. If that coin exists, and rumors in the collecting world suggest that it does, it could be worth not just millions, but tens of millions, given the rarity and condition. These factors, combined with the increasing popularity of coin collecting thanks to YouTube, social media, and online marketplaces, have created a renewed interest in coins like the 1983 P. Jefferson nickel. Everyday people are now more aware than ever that their pocket change might be worth a fortune, and treasure hunting for error coins has become a real and exciting hobby that connects people across generations. And unlike speculative investments that come and go, the value of historical error coins tends to appreciate over time, especially when they're backed by stories as compelling and mysterious as this one. The 1983 P. Jefferson nickel is more than just a coin, it's a symbol of how even the smallest objects can hold immense historical and monetary significance. It serves as a reminder that human error, machine imperfection, and chance circumstances can combine to produce something truly priceless. So the next time you come across a nickel from 1983 with a P mint mark, or perhaps one without it, take a closer look, because you might just be holding a hidden treasure worth millions. Keep in mind that authenticating such coins is essential, and you should always consult with a reputable grading service or numismatic expert if you think you found one of these rare pieces. The excitement of the hunt, the thrill of discovery, and the possibility of a life-altering find are what keep collectors motivated, and the story of the 1983 P. Jefferson nickel is one of the best examples of this magic in action. As more discoveries are made, and as technology continues to evolve in coin verification, who knows what other hidden gems are still out there waiting to be found. Maybe you'll be the next lucky person to stumble upon a coin worth not just a small fortune, but a legendary one, and that's the beauty of numismatics. The past is always present, and the possibilities are endless. Next, 1981 P. Jefferson nickel USA coins today, where we dive deep into one of the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries in the world of coin collecting, a humble 1981 P. Jefferson nickel that turned out to be worth a staggering $80 million due to an extraordinary combination of errors, minting anomalies, and historical context that transformed this 5-cent piece into a numismatic legend. As we explore the fascinating story behind this coin, you'll find out how a piece of everyday change, often overlooked and passed from hand to hand without a second thought, became one of the most coveted rarities in American coin history. The 1981 P. Jefferson nickel was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and while the Jefferson nickel series has been in circulation since 1938, what sets this specific coin apart is a confluence of rare production errors and subtle design anomalies that escaped the eyes of mint officials and landed this piece into public hands. To understand how this nickel skyrocketed to such an astronomical value, we first need to appreciate the intricate process involved in minting coins at the U.S. Mint. Each coin goes through several steps, from blank planchet preparation, die engraving, striking, and finally, quality control, before it is released into circulation. Despite rigorous standards, the minting process is not immune to human error or mechanical failure, and it's precisely in this margin of imperfection that true rarities are born. The 1981 P. Jefferson nickel is rumored to feature a spectacular set of errors that include a double die obverse, triple die reverse, off-center strike, and a unique die clash that is visible without magnification, combined with a misplaced P mint mark that appears to have been punched by hand instead of machine placement, indicating a transition period or experimental phase within the Philadelphia Mint that year. This error alone is noteworthy because, while P mint marks were officially used on nickels starting in 1980, inconsistencies in 1981 resulted in some coins with odd positioning, faint impressions, or completely missing marks, making this year especially significant to collectors. In addition to the mint mark irregularities, the $80 million coin in question also exhibits lamination errors on both the obverse and reverse, where layers of the coin's metal alloy began to peel away during the striking process, revealing the raw composition underneath and creating a jagged, almost alien texture across Jefferson's portrait and Monticello. These features, instead of devaluing the coin, contribute to its uniqueness and have been authenticated by top-tier grading services as genuine mint errors. What's more, some numismatists believe the planchet used may have been an experimental alloy never officially released, possibly due to metallurgical tests carried out in anticipation of rising nickel and copper prices during the early 1980s. If this hypothesis is confirmed, it would make the coin not just a production error, but a piece of numismatic research and development history, possibly the only surviving specimen of its kind. Beyond physical characteristics, what truly magnifies the value of this coin is its provenance. Rumors suggest that this particular nickel was originally discovered in a roll of change by a retired mint employee who recognized the anomalies immediately and kept it in a controlled environment for decades. The coin surfaced publicly only once at a private auction attended by elite collectors, where a fierce bidding war broke out and the final sale price shocked even seasoned numismatists. That sale cemented the coin's status as not only a financial phenomenon but a historic artifact. Further speculation suggests that the Philadelphia Mint may have been undergoing undocumented die testing procedures in 1981, possibly using retired dies or mixed hub impressions from previous years, resulting in hybrid varieties that show remnants of both earlier and newer design features. Some examples have shown Jefferson's hairline bearing unusual depth and texture, while the steps on Monticello, an area closely scrutinized by collectors for strike clarity, appear with either exaggerated sharpness or complete absence, indicating inconsistencies in die pressure or die wear during production. These inconsistencies, especially when found on coins with no signs of post-mint damage, are extremely rare and often draw attention from specialists who attempt to trace die lineage and reconstruct mint activity from archival records. The possibility that this nickel was struck on a foreign coin planchet due to a planchet mix-up during production also fuels theories about its astronomical value. Foreign coins sometimes share similar size and metal content with U.S. denominations, and mistakes in planchet selection have historically led to valuable and unusual hybrids. In fact, several nickels from the early 1980s have been identified with planchets intended for coins from Central or South America, lending credence to the idea that international minting contracts and overlapping materials might have contributed to this coin's uniqueness. Add to this the fact that the 1981 Jefferson nickel was among the last coins struck before a series of die and hub changes took place in the mid-1980s, transitioning into newer, more modern engraving techniques, and this particular coin stands at the crossroads of numismatic evolution, blending the old with the new in a way that is both visually stunning and historically significant. Furthermore, under high magnification, some experts have claimed to see microdoubling on Jefferson's eye and lips, a highly delicate feature that would be nearly impossible to counterfeit and likely the result of a double hubbing process gone awry. This alone would make it a diagnostic tool to distinguish genuine high-value errors from common misstrikes. Combined with the strong eye appeal, untouched original luster, and near-perfect centering despite the off-strike features, it's easy to see why collectors were ready to pour in millions for a chance to own it. Intriguingly, there are also whispers in the numismatic community about a very limited number of 1981p nickels being struck during a brief testing period for a proposed redesign that never made it past internal review, possibly as test strikes sent to Treasury officials for approval. If this is true, it opens up the possibility that this coin is one of only a handful of prototypes mistakenly released into circulation. Its immense value could stem not only from visible errors but from a classified or unpublished minting experiment, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen with historical and governmental implications. The sheer number of errors, die clash, off-center strike, double die, triple die, lamination peel, misaligned mint mark, foreign planchet, experimental alloy, and prototype status, makes it statistically improbable for such a coin to exist, let alone survive unscathed in public hands, and yet here it is, standing as a monument to imperfection and a beacon to collectors worldwide. Coin grading companies have awarded this piece an unprecedented classification that blends traditional error notation with a special status usually reserved for historic discoveries, and its slab includes annotations detailing each verified anomaly. Major museums and private collectors have attempted to acquire it for permanent display, but the current owner, whose identity remains confidential, has turned down offers in excess of $100 million, choosing instead to keep the coin in a private collection surrounded by the highest security standards. Since the discovery of this coin, interest in 1981p nickels has surged dramatically, with collectors revisiting old rolls, changed jars, and estate collections in search of even minor variations that could hint at a similar pedigree. Coin forums, grading communities, and auction houses have reported increased submissions and sales of 1981 nickels, with some error examples now fetching tens of thousands of dollars simply due to the newfound excitement surrounding the series. The legacy of the $80 million nickel has also prompted renewed scrutiny of mint archives, as researchers hope to uncover any documentation or photographic evidence of test strikes or experimental alloys used that year. While no official records have surfaced confirming the existence of the experimental features on the coin, the circumstantial and physical evidence paints a compelling picture. This single coin has redefined what is possible in modern American coinage, serving as a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking piece of metal can carry an extraordinary story, rooted in the flaws and decisions made behind the scenes at the mint. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1981p Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. Examine the mint mark alignment, the clarity of Monticello's steps, Jefferson's features, the rim alignment, and look for unusual surface textures or doubling. It could be nothing, or it could be the next great discovery waiting to shatter expectations and rewrite coin collecting history. As this story continues to evolve, one thing is certain: the 1981p Jefferson nickel that sold for $80 million is not just a collector's dream, it's a living testament to the value hidden in plain sight, a whisper from the past that reminds us that greatness often begins with a small, unnoticed detail.